Previously, Dilvari Ferus had agreed to follow Arander, a priest of Mara, into Nightcaller Temple so they could help the citizens of Dawnstar who were having horrible dreams. Now, as they approached these orcs that were on the ground, they'd been asleep for a long time and were probably insane by a magical gas called the miasma. Arander, he made the call, he decided to attack them. So Dilvari simply followed suit. But her magic just did not seem to be working very well and took a massive hit from a warhammer from one of the orcs. Almost dying, she stumbled away, popped her healing spell, but her magicka was low. Luckily, Arander was there and settled things down. Next up, they had to get through this portal that had been erected by the priests of Vermina back when the initial fighting had been happening. Now, at this point, Arander seemed to think that there might be a way to get through the portal by using something that could be found in a library that was further up the ramp. Now, at this point, Dilvari calls him out, and Arander confesses that he does know more about this place than he was letting on.
My knowledge of this temple comes from personal experience. I was a priest of Vermina. When the orcs invaded the temple, I fled. I left my brothers and sisters here to die. I've spent the last few decades living in regret and seeking redemption from Mara. And by her benevolence, I will right my wrongs.
Dilvari continued to follow Arander up to the library, hoping to find a way to break through the portal.
Be careful. We're certain to find more of the awakened within.
Hearing Arander's warning, Dilvari maybe started to think that she was in over her head. As they got to the library, there was an orc and a priest of Vermina waking up from the miasma. She hesitated for just a moment, but then followed Arander's lead. The flames really did not do much damage, so she held back. The Rander's final blow on the priest, they started to continue through the library, but they could hear fighting and sounds of priests and orcs waking up and fighting with each other. So she decided to stay close to Arander, who did not seem to be too worried about the situation.
This library used to be filled with arcane volumes. Now look at it. Almost everything's been burned. I hope the tome we need is still intact.
As they neared the stairs, Dilvari continued to hold back, and a priest of Vermina attacked Arander, but in usual fashion, Arander ended it fairly quickly.
Barring any more interruptions, perhaps we can locate the information I need. If you'll check the shelves around the balcony, I'll check around the lower level.
And it was pretty easy for Dilvari to head back up to the upper level and find the blue-covered dream stride, which they needed to get through the barrier.
Mara be praised. There is a way past the barrier to the inner sanctum. It involves a recipe for a liquid known as Vermina's torpor. The torpor grants an ability the priests of Vermina called the Dream Stride, using dreams to travel distances in the real world. All believe there is a laboratory in the East Wing. If we proceed there, we should be able to locate a sample. You'll be viewing the memory of another through your own eyes and with your own body. Those around you will perceive you as normal, and you will find the words you utter may not be your own.
So they left the library, headed towards the laboratory, and they came across these two, an orc and a priest that were still sleeping, and Dilvari rushed in, decided to take care of business, which she did pretty well, leaving Arander not much to do except walk through fire. Arander continues on into the laboratory, and basically what happens at this point starts one of the most epic fights I've ever been a part of in Skyrim, or really any computer game. There's all these priests and orcs here. Dilvari fires up an orc, does absolutely hardly any damage to him, even though he was just laying there sleeping. And she retreats immediately because there are way too many people in this battle, and she is way too squishy. Then all of a sudden, these orcs break free. She blasts them. That does not stop them at all. She takes a massive hit from a battle axe, and then she is on the run for her life. One more hit and she is dead. She makes it back into the library, pops another healing spell. Luckily she's got a little bit of time here. And at this point, she is just running for her life. Doing a pretty good job of it, too. She gets a door shut, trying to buy some time, and heads back down into the entrance. Now, at this point, she's hidden. She's just trying to get her magicka back, trying to do something. Now, the orcs have not pursued her this far, so she decides to sneak back to help Arander. She tails the orcs, which are going through the library very cautiously. And she's basically just watching at this point when Arander shows up out of nowhere and proceeds to chase them down. She kind of shadows Arander, leaps right behind him, and then they go back into the battle. Arander goes down. Here come the orcs again. She takes another almost shot from the battle axe, and then she's on the run again. This repeats itself. She turns around to see, and they are right there on her. She's managing to dodge pretty much all of their attacks. Massive leap from her. She heads back to the entrance, trying to just buy time. She decides to turn back on him, just trying to whittle him down with the fire. Nothing is working. At this point, they are hot on her tail. There's no doors to close. She takes another shot from a battle axe, and she is out of time. Check out this leap. These orcs want her so badly. She hits the portal. She can't go any further. Takes another shot, is near death, and runs back up to this spot where
now that they've been dealt with, we need to find the torch.
Now, I want you to watch this. She pops the fire. Now, Arander is up at the top of the screen. He fires a fireball, which takes them both out for her. And look at her health. So after that epic fight that took forever and was so much running and gunning, they go back to the laboratory and they start to search it for Vermina's torpor. Now, along the way, they find all sorts of cool alchemical goodies, including a taproot, some ice wraith teeth, and all sorts of good stuff. And while she's picking up a Falmer ear, she looks over and happens to see Vermina's torpor, which she takes and brings it back.
Yes, my daughter.
To Arander.
What is it I can help with? I'm relieved you discovered a bottle intact. This place looks as though it was ransacked by the orcs. So, I've taken us this far, but you need to guide us the rest of the way. Drink.
Little time to spare. She drinks the torpor and is off to the dream time, where she encounters a vision from the past.
And what about you, Brother Casimir? Are you prepared to serve the will of Vermina? Brother Casimir, you must activate the barrier and release the miasma. Let nothing stop you. Brother Thorin, we must remain here and guard this skull with our lives if necessary.
Agreed to the death.
Then let it be done. Farewell, my brothers.
And then there was this scene where she is running through the temple while the marauding orcs and the priests of Vermina fight. She's in the body of Brother Casimir, a priest of Vermina, and she wonders who this Brother of Casimir is, but she doesn't really have time as the fighting is all around her, and she rushes back up to near the top of the temple to where she gets to the release for the miasma and pulls down on the chain. What happens next is she somehow comes back to the present. She kind of gets her bearings and realizes she needs to pull that gem out, which then releases the doorway and the portal.
It worked. Mara,
So with the portal down, she continues to follow Arander through these new passageways trying to get to the Skull of Corruption. Now at this point it gets very complicated, and Dilvari tries to do what she can, but she realizes she's out of her league.